Welcome back to another episode of The Fast and the Curious. He's fast, and I'm curious.
I wear red shoes. That's how
everybody-
I'm faster.
Yeah, I'm Tails. My name's Miles Per Hour. Or Miles Power. I don't remember what it is.
It's like Prower, but
Prower.
the per hour pun is in there.
You know, I came up with a lyric the other day that I thought was really good. Where it was living with you in Missouri, but when you sing it, it's like living with you in misery. You know, like when you it sounds like misery when you sing it. And then I was like, that's awesome. I love it. And I searched it on Google. And it's like 10 songs already.
Yeah, that's what I was
like
gonna say.
many people already thought about it.
Yeah.
But either way, so kind of, I realized this recently, but on our last episode, it was the fate of the curious. It was episode 8.
Yeah.
And it really is the fate of the curious because now, not totally, but in just in the fact of seeing all the movies, we are on the same playing field now.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're both now we're about to see Hobbs and Shaw. We're going into Hobbs and Shaw, both blind right now.
Yeah,
you
we're
know?
both curious this time.
We are both curious as to how Hobbs and Shaw is going to go. And so, yeah, it's been quite a ride, but now we are getting to, I think, what was inevitable after like Fast 6 is that, or Fast and Furious 6, is that there's going to be a Fast and Furious cinematic universe. And I assume that now, like, so, because I don't know, like, it's a thing people say that Vin Diesel and The Rock don't get along or whatever.
Yeah.
So I would assume that Vin Diesel now is going to have the Fast and Furious series.
Yeah.
And now Hobbs and Shaw is like the spinoff. And so there's going to be like Hobbs and Shaw 6, Hobbs and Shaw year or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Hobbs and Shaw 3, Tokyo Drift, you know, all that stuff.
Oh, actually, hold on. That actually would be really dope if
they
like,
just
the third
redid.
one. No, like not even necessarily redoing all of them, but just that one in particular. If this third Hobbs and Shaw, they go to Tokyo, like that would actually be really good. I hope they do that.
But yeah,
Oh my god, yo, that's how they redeem this fucking Han bullshit.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like they go back to Tokyo and like Shaw has to basically be confronted by what a huge piece of shit he is. Like they like meet. Oh my god,
and he travels back in time to stop himself.
All right, but he's fine. Sure, you have your time travel. I was just gonna like they have to like help Han's family with something or something.
okay.
I don't know, but
okay.
But no, time travel's good too. Bring
I mean,
it
you
back.
know, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what are your expectations going into Hobbs and Shaw?
I mean, it's hard not to just say like the things I saw in the trailer, like you know, like Idris Elba with superpowers and wacky antics where they don't want to be friends, but then they have to work together. As far as like actual expectations, I think this one's gonna be even more patently ridiculous than all the like Fast and Furious movies have been, because like they're literally using like a super villain.
Yeah.
He's got like a exoskeleton suit or something, so like I imagine it'll be like really turned up.
Well, and the Rock in the Fast and Furious movies has basically been a superhero.
Yeah, like punching through walls.
Well, it's in the trailer for this, right? Where he grabs the helicopter and like pulls the helicopter back in with his bare hands.
Well, he's just really that strong. That's not even ridiculous.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, well, and that's and kind of looking at the trailers for this movie, I feel like it's gonna be a fun romp. You know, like I feel like I'm gonna come out and go, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I definitely have less expectations for this because of the fact that like while it's in like my franchise, it's not the characters that I really care about.
Sure.
Like it like pisses me off when Dom Toretto does something stupid, but if Luke Hobbs does something stupid, I'm not gonna care. You know what I mean?
What about Deckard Chaw?
Yeah, I'm not invested in these characters. Like they're fine in the other movies with the main cast, like, but like they're not the people that I've like invested all my like time and emotions into. So like if they do dumb stuff, I can be like, all right, that's fun. Like that's fine.
Well, and I feel like this movie might be the movie though that gets you invested in those characters, or at least semi-interested.
I would hope so if it's a whole movie about them.
But that's because like it seems like from the trailer that it's kind of about bringing in both their like families, because you know Fast and Furious is about family, so it has to have families. So that's what like, you know, it seems like Shaw's, is it his daughter that's in the trailer? Do they say it, or is it niece or something, some sort of relative of his?
I know what you're talking about.
And then obviously like the well publicized Roman Reigns thing is in there where they go to Hawaii and everything. So
and I love Hobbs' daughter in some of the previous ones too, like when they're out, when he's at, like the soccer game and stuff. Like I thought that stuff was really good.
So that's what I kind of feel like if we're seeing like The Rock hanging out with Roman Reigns, you know, and they're like having a good time. Like I feel like we're gonna be like, all right, cool, like way to go, Shaw.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's
or Hobbs. Calvin.
I guess you're not quite ready for this, huh? You've not been granted the level of fast.
You are no longer curious, but I cannot get you yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I've been I don't know, I've been looking forward to this one. I gotta say. I'm not expecting it to be some sort of cinematic masterpiece. But I think I'm gonna have a good time watching it.
Yeah, my expectations when it was first announced were literally on the ground, and then I saw the trailer and I was like, "Oh, we have liftoff!" Like some of that looks kind of fun, and it's like I don't really think they can disappoint me. Like I think it'll either be like just like that was like good enough for what I was expecting, or it'll like actually be like a big surprise where I'm like, "Wow, I enjoyed that a lot."
Like a lot of the stuff they show in the trailer, and I'm hoping this isn't the case of all the good stuff was in the trailer.
Yeah.
But like the stuff they show in the trailer, like the different set pieces and battles and different stuff like that,
it's pretty
it
fun.
looks like it's gonna be fun. Yeah, like it looks like The Rock going down the building and there's Jason Statham's in the elevator.
Yeah, the elevator sequence is part of what sold me. I was like, okay, if we're doing stuff like that, like
or
I
like
think that'll be a
the
good
part
time.
where they go into like the two separate tunnels or whatever, and Jason Statham's got like all the guys that he's fighting, and The Rock's got like one guy or something like that.
I hadn't seen that. I wish you hadn't said
that.
I'm
sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah, like there's just like I feel like there's gonna be a lot of fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just gonna be a good time. All right, well, I think that's our expectations of Hobbs and Shaw.
This will also be the first time we go to a theater to watch one of these movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Not for me, but like as a unit, as a show.
Yeah. Well, because we started this show around the time that Fate of the Curious came out.
Yeah.
But by the time we got to Fate of the Curious, it was like out on like DVD and stuff. Like it wasn't. I had not seen it in the theaters. So yeah, this is actually my first Fast and Furious experience in the movie theaters.
I wonder if we'll get the diehards because like when I went to like the last few like 6 and 7 in particular, like the theater was full of people who like are like they're the family, the ride or dies.
Oh, okay.
And I wonder if this will be just kind of like the smattering of just like people like I like movies with H's and S's in them, like, or if it'll be like the people that are like. Fuck yeah, and like they're like reacting with the movies like a Marvel crowd would. Like, I guess we'll find out.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess we'll see. Also, I haven't really decided yet what we're gonna call this episode.
Yeah, the Twitter poll said that you have to call it. What was it? It was like,
like
Fobbs and Chaw.
Fobbs and Chaw.
Yeah, which is pretty good.
I feel like I feel like it shouldn't be named that, though.
It probably shouldn't, but on the other hand, the people did speak.
Yeah, but it was an informal poll. I feel like most people put the joke answer, not the real answer. But I don't know. Fobbs and Chaw is funny too. So.
Yeah, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah. Well, you'll know by the time while you're watching this, you could like look at the bottom of the video and it'll say what's going on. Oh. This is a pencil.
When you need to throw but there's no pen. I did the best I could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, either way, we will see you here in a little bit. All right, welcome back. Time has passed. The lighting's probably different on this part of the video. We've aged slightly.
We figured out the intro we should have done to this episode, which was, he's a nice cold can of whoop ass, and I'm what you call a champagne problem.
You need to work on your rock accent or your rock
impression. I didn't try to do a rock
That's...
impression because that was supposed to be yours. I just like delivered the.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, the information.
Well, I don't have a good rock
nice
impression either.
Manner.
But yeah, so we have now viewed Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
A movie that. I mean, did the things that a summer blockbuster should do, right? It was like fun, had some good action stuff. I think the highlight of the movie for me was I thought that a lot of the action sequences were really cool in this movie.
Oh, I liked some of them, yeah.
Like, I mean, they're like ridiculous, but like, I don't know. Like the part, like, well, the two main ones that come to mind are when they're driving the truck out of the facility in the Ukraine, and like everything's blowing up behind them, and like they're like fighting on the truck bed and everything, and the giant smokestack falls down on the back of the truck and everything. Like stuff like that was cool. And then I really enjoyed the whole like final battle in Samoa.
Mm.
I thought that was really cool. Even like the ridiculous thing of The Rock like pulling the helicopter in with the chain.
It
It's
wasn't
like,
as bad as it was made to sound because of the fact
Yeah.
that he did have like a winch and there were like
yeah, he was only really holding it
Like-
for like 5 seconds or something.
Yeah.
The trailer definitely made it seem more. Do you also? I was thinking about this too, comparing the trailer. That I think they edited this to help with the rating. But did you notice like the fuck you part in the elevator thing coming off the building?
Yeah.
That in the trailer you see The Rock visibly say "fuck you."
Yeah.
But in the movie, the glass is broken in front of his face, so you
Oh,
don't actually see
really?
him say it.
I felt like I could still see what he was saying. Maybe
Well, no,
it's-
you can,
maybe
like-
because I knew from the trailer.
That's
that
what
it
I'm
was,
saying. Like if you watch,
Yeah.
you like can see his face and you can understand what he's doing,
Mhm.
but his actual mouth is covered up. And they did the same thing where like Jason Statham doing the wanker thing was
Yeah.
was covered up by the
I didn't even
by
notice
the glass too.
But maybe it's because like I knew what to look for and I already seen it in the trailer, so I
Sure.
didn't notice the glass shatter in the way. I was conscious of the rating though, because like they were like swearing an awful lot, and I was just like,
But then there were other parts where it felt like you were watching the movie on FX.
yeah,
Where it would be like, "Oh, you cheeky butler," you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
yeah.
or like, The Rock says, like, "What in the flying turkey is going on here?"
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Well,
there's lines like that that you're like, "What?"
and some of the violence too. I was like, oh well, like it's like it's toned out because it's like I didn't realize this going in, but it's directed by one of the John Wick dudes. And I was like,
Oh,
he
really?
wants to let loose here, but because he's not operating in a rated R territory,
Mm.
instead it has to be a little more like toned down.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, because you could definitely like there was like, you know, cutting away from stuff and everything, which isn't a bad
No,
thing.
it's-
That's
it
not
doesn't
that's not
bother me, yeah.
But it's just interesting when you kind of go into a movie understanding that they need to make certain cuts to make it PG-13 or whatever.
Yeah.
You kind of start to like notice the things they do.
yeah,
But that was the first one that made me like really cognizant of it was when I noticed that they had the glass covering up his mouth saying "fuck you" that we had seen not covered up in the trailer.
yeah, it's interesting. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a stupid movie.
Oh,
but
it is it's-
but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
yeah,
it is a dumb movie.
yeah.
There's a lot of
There's,
stuff
like-
that's dumb.
There's like nothing with like an IQ of higher than like I
Yeah.
don't know what number to use, but like but
I
it's-
mean,
but
literally,
it's-
the villain addresses the point of the movie where he's like, "The fate of the world is in your hands, and you're still fighting.
you can't even
you
get along."
Also, so like, all right, the bad guyness of Idris Elba's character was really cool. Like, I felt like he was a fun bad guy in like fight scenes and stuff like
Yes.
that. His motivations for his character jumped all over the place.
Yeah.
Like where they were just everywhere in this movie where like literally so because if you're gonna have the thing where the bad guy believes that he is doing what is best for humanity,
Which is one of the reasons I said it's a stupid movie, because that shit makes no sense.
yeah, no, I know it doesn't,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you're going to believe that,
Yeah.
he can't, his first line in the movie can't be "I'm the bad guy."
Yeah, it's true. I didn't
You
think
know?
about that. Yep. Yeah.
Like it's like they wrote that joke and then later were like, "Oh, wouldn't it be interesting if he was a complex character?" You know, like they started out as like, "We're just gonna turn into this. This is an action movie. He knows he's the bad guy,
Yeah.
and he spends the first like 30 minutes of the movie understanding he's the bad guy."
Yeah. He's like,
And
I
then
don't care, kill him, get rid of him, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then later he's like, actually, I'm saving humanity.
Yeah.
In a method that makes zero sense whatsoever.
it was kind of like the character is going like, "You know what? I should come up with a reason for all this." And so like halfway through the movie, he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm actually doing this to save humanity."
Well, because like, okay, because all right, let's try to break down what this evil plot was.
Yeah.
It was they're gonna release this virus, and basically it's like that's gonna kill everybody. He's like, only the weak, and so okay, so then all the people that are weak enough to get killed by a super virus, I guess, die.
Yeah.
And then the people that are left was the idea that they would like rebuild them the way they rebuilt him. Is that what was going on there? Okay.
I'm just checking the camera really quick.
Okay. But that also makes no sense because the way they rebuilt him, great for hand-to-hand combat and gunfights, but the situation he's talking about, which is the reason for the whole thing to happen, like environmental issues and stuff like that, you can't catch the bullet that is global warming. You know what I mean? Like, how's it going to fix anything? How's it going to save anybody?
Well, maybe I don't think this is what the movie was thinking.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to come up with a reason, it's that humans can't survive what global warming will do to the world.
Yeah.
So they're making a human that will survive that.
But see, that didn't come across.
But the movie is not trying to say that. The movie's just like, I don't know, like here, he's a superhuman.
I guess I could follow the logic that like he's like their prototype, and eventually they could build a human that could do more than he does.
Yeah.
But they kind of just made it seem he's like my robot body's great, and you can have it too, and everyone can have it, and then we'll survive capitalism, which is a real problem he cites in the description of what they're gonna do to fix everything. And so it's just like this is like the most like half-baked evil plot that's meant to sound like we actually are like right and have a good motivation, and like it's wild. But...
And I wonder if the movie, like because there's parts where it seems like the movie is self-aware enough that it is like it that's like part of the joke or whatever, is that it is so like stereotypical half-baked or
like
whatever.
Like a scientist, and he's like, that's literally not possible when Hattie gets out of the holds and stuff.
Yeah,
which that was
or
fun.
like everything with Ryan Reynolds' character is very much like like literally the ending is like, hey, you know how like there's the last virus? Well, now there's another virus, and it melts. Like I feel like it doesn't necessarily make up for the fact that the bad guy's motivations don't make any sense. But I feel like the movie is self-aware in that it understands that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know that they do on that one. I'm with you with a lot of the stuff that I feel like they know that what they're doing is bullshit. But like that one doesn't feel like it got like I don't know, made fun of in the same way that stabbing someone with a brick did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I guess it would have been better if like either Hobbs or Shaw had addressed like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it would be playing off that, I guess. Yeah.
That one I think they might have thought they did something cool with that.
Yeah.
But I'm not certain. I'm not sure.
You know what was kind of interesting in watching this movie in a movie theater was that it was way funnier for other people, I felt like.
Yeah.
Like, because the theater that we saw it with loved this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they really, really enjoyed it. They were laughing. Like, there was a lot of laughs throughout this whole movie.
It's like some of them had never seen The Rock before because they were copying for stuff. I was like, that's like bargain bin Rock humor. Like, where it's like, I'm going to kick your ass so hard you're spitting out shoelaces. And they're like, like people are like, it's like their first
like
Dwayne Johnson
they should
movie.
Look up the Rock and Coach stuff.
Exactly, yeah. They would love like the late 90s, early 2000s Raw. Like that's
But yeah, like that's and there were parts in here that I thought were funny.
Yeah, I agree.
But there was definitely a lot of like literal dick competition jokes in this.
Yeah.
Of like literally like mine's bigger jokes.
Yeah.
Which did not land for me at all.
No, no. The banter was, we knew it was coming, and some of it worked well.
Yeah.
Some of it worked well, even though it shouldn't have, and some of it just didn't.
Yeah.
Like there were moments where I was like, I'm aware that what they're saying is not funny, but because the actors are charismatic enough, and because it just keeps going, I was finding myself laughing at shit. Like, the line itself was not good. I want to preface that, but the bit where like, The Rock's just like it's a long ass sentence, and he's just like, "You think I'm doing all this to save the world just so your sister and I can do the horizontal Lulu sex whatever?"
Yeah.
And like I was just like, "This is bad," but I'm laughing because like he's just like a funny guy, and it's absurd how long this is going. So like it made me laugh.
That was actually one of that I'm kind of with you on that, where the whole thing where they're on the plane and they're like whispering at each other, like about like I'm gonna punch you in the face and stuff like that. Like it was dumb, but it was like just kind of like how much they were fucking driving, like punching you in the face with it, that kind of started to make it funny.
Eventually it becomes kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's kind of endearing. There's like, you're gonna fucking laugh at these.
Well, that was like by the end, like because like originally like the Ryan Reynolds, like, oh, we're best friends stuff was like kind of like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then like, they kept coming back to it enough that like by the end I'm like actually enjoying it.
I loved the moment where he revealed that he has one of the Rock's chest tattoos.
The tattoo was a good one.
That was really good. Like as like a Rock fan who like knows the tattoos well. The second he's like, we got tattoos, like, oh my god, is Ryan Reynolds going to have the fucking like Polynesian like pec tattoo?
I would have loved if he had the Brahma bull.
Yeah, that would have been really good too. But even Rock doesn't have the Brahma bull anymore.
No, he got it overdone with a bigger
with a
Brahma bull.
gigantic, like worse looking bull skull. But so I guess like a friend of the show, Becky Scott Fairley, had mentioned in our Discord that they enjoyed the cast of this movie, and I remember telling you, it's like, I don't know what that means, but like maybe there'll be some cool appearances. I did not expect Ryan Reynolds to show up, and that was fun. I thought he was. I mean, he's just. I like him in general, and his character was fun.
Yeah.
Uh, he has less goodwill than he used to, but I was like, oh, Kevin Hart's here.
Yeah.
And that scene was absurd, by the way, when they're all on the plane and they're just having a extended conversation about their like secret Black Ops stuff, and like I was like, there are other passengers right there, and like they can't all be sleeping and missing this. Like it's just like he's huddled in the aisle for like half an hour just talking to them about like how he's the air marshal, or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, not important, obviously, but it did make me. Like, it took me out of this scene a lot because I was just like, they are just having this talk, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
no, and that was a pretty good guarded secret that Kevin Hart was in this movie.
Yeah, all of them. I had no idea any of those people were. In the movie.
Yeah. I was really hoping when we were getting all these like random people showing up in this movie.
Yeah.
Every time they said like "Good job, Usos." In this movie,
no,
I wanted the Usos to show up so bad. Also, a thing I learned in this movie is that Uso means brother.
That's the thing is I forgot that. I knew that, but forgot it. And so again, every time they said Uso, I was like, the camera's gonna flip and they're gonna be there. And it's like, oh no, they're not. Like, and yeah, it's just like I completely forgot that means something. It doesn't just like their name.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie, and actually, honestly, the franchise as a whole, since The Rock has been in it, has always been really good about like providing like wrestling fan service. I don't think we've mentioned that before, but I always have been appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Even when it doesn't land all the way like it should. Like the moment where like Roman Reigns like spears the dude and then does the ooh-ah.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like feel like fuck yeah, but I was like, oh, it's in there for us. Like
I liked it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a sucker for wrestling moves in movies.
What I'm saying is like it sometimes feels a little bit weird, but I'm always like, I like that you knew that people might like that and you put it in.
I liked when Roman Reigns did the back body drop.
Yeah, he did the Samoan drop.
Or he did the Samoan drop. Yeah, sorry.
Samoa. Yeah. Rock does the people's eyebrow in this.
Yeah.
And he almost does one of his catchphrases, which I feel like was weird to like turn it at the last second and make it worse, because he does like, I'm gonna take this chair, spin it, and shove it straight down your throat. And I was like, oh, come on. And at first I thought they changed it for like a rating thing, but then the rest of the movie there was like shit, damn, whatever. I was like, you can say ass, just like say it, because there's the line later where he's like, the shoelace one. He's like, I'm gonna put my foot up your ass. Like, well, like you should have used the ass to do like the Rock's actual like line, like in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
I also, the Rock beats the main baddie by doing the.
Oh, he does a German.
He does a German to him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Like it's literally how he beats Idris Elba.
He's like, here's your kryptonite, and gives him a German suplex. By the way, if you're new to the show, I'm very sorry. We should clarify that, like our movie club podcast, like we're spoiling everything.
Oh, well, yeah.
I don't know if people are like, ooh, Hobbs and Shaw, and then it's like, no, don't tell me he uses a German suplex, but it happens. And I was thinking during that, I was like, teenage me would have thought that was the coolest shit ever. Like, I still like it when wrestling movies show up, but like when I was like in like high school, or I would have run to school and be like, dude, The Rock does a German. Like, yeah.
But it makes like when he has like this super spine, and he's like, well, what do I know in my arsenal of moves to attack someone's spine?
Yeah. That the fight at the end was interesting because I like that they found a way to play into the fact that they're making a movie about like two people that don't get along, needing to come together, and they made the way to beat the dude that they have to work together. However, two things. One, it made Idris look like an idiot because at no point did he figure out the strategy of that guy's going to let me hit him and then the other guy's going to hit me.
I think like, there was one part where where the Rock is coming from behind him, and he like goes to do like the elbow the Rock in the face, and then that's when Jason Statham comes from the front and attacks him. So,
yeah, I guess I just would have liked it to be a little harder for them.
Yeah.
Which is actually really fun. I'm glad that we went down this way, because I just remember something I didn't write down in my notes, but that I loved was that by the end of it, they're just kicking the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And like to the point where he's so not a threat anymore that it literally plays off like the character's like, all right, what else cool shit can we do to him now? Like, Rock throws him across the air, and Jason takes like a flying knee. It's so funny. Like, they're just like, it's like if you were playing a wrestling game, and it's you and your buddy versus the computer, and you're just beating the shit out of them. And it's like, wouldn't it be cool if like I did a superplex and you did this? Like, they're beating you up so badly that they're literally just like, fuck it, let's do cool shit. And it's like, it's amazing how like beginning of the movie, he's like so cool, and he's like catching bullets in the palms. Not like catching them, but he gets shot and it like bounces off his hand or whatever. And then by the end, he's a rag doll. Like they're treating him like the Spider-Man toy I used to have that we would like practice moves on my trampoline. We were backyard wrestling. Like, it's so funny to me. But the other thing that the final fight made me think of is that it almost made like literal in the movie the thing that we learned this week with that article about uh Dwayne Johnson, Jason Statham, and
Oh yeah.
Vin Diesel, where they're like very conscious of like how much they get hit or beat up, and they never wanted to like lose fights, and if they like got hit, they wanted to hit back just as much, whatever. Because the literal end mechanic of the fight is if you get hit by him this time, I will hit him then, and then you will get hit the next time,
Yeah.
and I will hit him then. And
It was
really
like we were
funny
watching the contract negotiations.
exactly, which is really funny. And I feel like the movie, I'm not sure how much this is intentional, but I do think it's interesting that it's almost like a meta commentary on the Vin Diesel, Dwayne Johnson situation behind the scenes of the Fast and Furious movies,
Yeah.
because there's like these whole situations where these two, uh, you know, bald stars are like, I'm the cool one, you suck, leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. Like, they two, town's not big enough for the two of them. And then other
Yeah.
characters like, please cut it with this like alpha male bullshit. Like, we don't have time. Like, and it was just like almost like what what is reportedly happening behind the scenes of these movies is literally happening with the characters as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, um, this felt very separate from the other movies.
It did.
I knew that it would, but I guess it was like good and bad. I think I would have liked it if there had been more that tied it back to the original series, but it did help me, like I predicted, care less. I was not nitpicking things as much, or like I was like still like mentally being like, well, that doesn't make sense and that's kind of bad, whatever. But it wasn't to the degree of like you're ruining my baby. Like
Yeah.
my movie series felt pretty safe, and this was just like, oh, if they do anything cool related to that, I can be like, oh, that's Fast and the Furious. And then if it didn't, I was like, well, this is an action movie I'm watching. But it was the same writer, so like there was like some stuff that still felt similar. The rapport the characters had,
Yeah.
and some of the general action stuff. And I thought it was smart that they did include a lot of like vehicular action still.
They even did the like going through the engine like Nas
Yes,
stuff.
I know. Yeah, and that was one of the things I was mentioning, like getting at with like the when they did do a Fast and Furious thing. I was like, it like made me more excited because I
Yeah.
was like, oh, there it is. Like I was really happy to get the Nas shot back.
Yeah.
Even though The Rock called it moonshine, but
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that made me happy. And
My favorite vehicle thing in this was I keep calling him Idris Elba because I can't think of the character's name.
Brixton.
Brixton.
Yeah,
Um,
Black Superman.
but I loved his bike.
Oh, it was cool.
That was
yeah.
like my favorite vehicle thing in the like
Yeah.
every like that first chase where they're all in Jason Statham's McLaren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout
And
out
like
to Tyler the Creator.
yeah, right. Crashed my McLaren, bought me a Tesla.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're all in the McLaren and he's chasing him on the bike. That stuff, I
Yeah.
was just like, yeah, this is cool.
My favorite action would be the movies at the very end of that because he's tailing him on the bike. Jason Statham like whips a Yui,
Yeah.
and then like hits him and launches him off the bike through the double decker
Yeah.
bus. I was like, that was
That's
dope.
cool.
That was
That's
really
cool.
really cool. Yeah, and also the moment again makes no sense, but like they pulled it off well enough visually that I didn't care. Was the moment from the trailer, but it's still cool in the execution of when they do like the vintage Fast and Furious thing and slide the car underneath the semi.
Yeah.
But then he slides under on the bike, and it's like he's like on the ground and he's like sliding between two semis.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, absurd, but it looked really good. And the moment where he like just barely passes through, I was like, you had the physical like relief,
Yeah.
like, ooh, he made it, even though you know it's like the most like CG horseshit of all time.
Sure.
Like it looked well, it
and
looked good enough that it was fine.
his like bike like transformed
Mhm.
like and everything too. So it like changed into like this thing so that he could do
Could
that kind
slide,
of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah, the only part that looked fakey was like the thing afterward, like right after he like the bike kind of like rights itself, and he
Yeah.
like pulls himself back up, and it's clearly not a real human being able to bend himself up off the ground onto the bike.
Yeah.
But like the cool thing was already over at that point. I didn't care.
Well,
like,
he's a superhuman.
that's
He's-
true. Yeah, he's Mr. Fantastic as well as Black Superman.
Yeah.
But yeah, that stuff was cool. I liked that the bike could like deliver itself to him. That was neat. The thing in the beginning where it would just like drive itself and then he just like get on.
Yeah.
That's
I knew Roman Reigns wasn't gonna have a lot of speaking parts, but I was
Yeah.
really surprised that he didn't speak at all.
yeah. No, I was laughing just like watching it, like his like moments because they showed him a lot.
Yeah,
'Cause
they
wanted
showed
to be
him a
like,
lot.
It's Roman Reigns, like
Yeah.
whatever. But like half of it was him just like swinging stuff like a bat, just like
yeah,
"Well, I'm gonna get him with this."
testing
Yeah.
out the weapon.
yeah,
Yeah, he was worth it though for the fight scene. That was that was cool.
yeah, it's cool.
Um,
They
yeah,
they took the whole like family thing to like the extremes in this because
Oh yeah.
as you rightfully predicted, obviously like the emotional core of the movie was about them both reuniting with their families, which is fine. It wasn't like the most moving cinema I've ever seen, but it worked okay.
Yeah,
Um,
it did what it was supposed to do.
yeah, and but then they also like The Rock literally uses family to fight Idris Elba because like all his
Yeah.
brothers are hooking their cars together to like to pull
Oh
the
yeah.
helicopter
No,
and
Vin
stuff,
Diesel
and
would be
like
proud.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like the most literal use of the family theme.
Yeah, when Vin Diesel was hate watching this, he was like,
Yeah.
"All right, Rock, you got me on that one."
Yeah. I the big third act fight that you mentioned in Samoa, which I did think it was cool that they spotlighted Samoa so much. You don't really see that very often.
Yeah.
Like and of course
I
it's
s-
gorgeous to look at.
yeah, I mean, well, you could tell they were like, "All right, we're filming here. We're taking
Yeah.
advantage." There's a lot of drone shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, I noticed too in the credits that they had like a whole staff of like Samoan cultural.
Mhm.
I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Advisors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, which comes with like The Rock being a producer on the movie.
Yeah,
Like, this
exactly.
is important. Like,
Yeah.
don't just like half-ass
Yeah,
it.
you could tell that he was like really into like, all right, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. And I when they first presented the idea of like, oh, like we're all gonna like fight them, and at first I'm like, this is like incredibly unbelievable. But like there were like things they did where I was like, I was kind of surprised how believable they ended up making it. In that, like, one, they covered their asses by saying that the whole Hobbs family had like a kind of like criminal crew background. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, so like when he shows up to them and is like, I'm bringing this like ridiculous threat to you, because at first I was like, why would they go along with this? Like, if your brother just shows up, even if it's your brother, you're not gonna
Yeah.
fight this like paramilitary like but like they had been in like it was still unrealistic, but it was back to like the franchise's normal level of like it's like street mechanics who have robbed some moving trucks
Yeah.
versus government people. It's like, okay, well at least we've like seen that before. And then it was like the stretch of like, okay, well we disabled their guns and we have all this like ancient Samoan weaponry. And I was like, I still don't know if they're gonna be able to beat these people. But then like they used all the traps and they used like
Yeah.
the exploding cars and they like trapped them in with like fire and stuff. I was like, okay, I can kind of buy this.
Yeah.
Like, they did a good job of making what on like at
The-
first seemed like it was going to be like not savable into a thing
yeah.
that you could watch and
Like whether or not it would actually work in real like life.
yeah,
But the strategy that they had made sense in the
Yeah.
context of the movie.
yeah, like for like movie stuff I could buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which is like all you really need to hit. That was a big thing that might have been the biggest lesson I took away from this is like when I'm trying to like write like movies and stuff, like I'll get stuck sometimes like, this is just like I can't make this like believable or feel realistic. And then I'll watch movies like, oh yeah, they don't even try half the time. Like,
Yeah.
what am I getting stuck on? Because like the stuff where it's like, oh, well, I can hack their guns that use fingerprint sensors with the whatever because you saw me like mess with a bomb earlier. And I was like, I realized that my brain was accepting that, even though it doesn't make any sense. Like, I was just like, oh,
Well-
we saw her use a computer, so like I guess she can hack stuff. Like,
Well, she is an MI6 agent.
that's true too.
So-
yeah. But there's
It's
other
no
stuff,
it's no
like-
more ridiculous than James Bond defusing a bomb kind of
True.
thing.
That's
you know?
what I did forget she was MI6.
Yeah.
That's a good detail. But there's another one though where like that we're like buying when we really shouldn't is that like his mechanic brother can figure out how to fix the like super science device.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that. But like when you're watching the movie, even if it rings for you for a second, like that's probably not like what would happen. You just like move on. It's ultimately not that important. Like
I guess in it still doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
But really what he's doing is he's just remaking with the 3D printer, remaking the pieces that broke and then just putting it back together.
yeah.
He's not like
But he did kind of know how it's supposed to work. At
Yeah,
the end,
I
too.
mean, that's-
like he's
that's
like,
true.
oh, well, we have 30 minutes, and then you just do this, and this is how you attach it to your arm, whatever. But like I
Yeah.
said, like it was a good reminder that like for some of this stuff, like we just don't care that much. We might be like, it's like that's dumb and point at it, but like you still watch the movie and you still get like decently swept away in it. Like
sure.
there's not many people that just like see an inconsistency or whatever, and it's like cross arms, like I'm done now. Like
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Like even with like, your favorite movies, you may sit there and go like, well, this part didn't make sense,
Yeah.
but like you don't really care.
yeah.
If it's like a really glaring plot hole, then you start to go like,
I
oh,
feel like
okay,
it's way worse to have gaps in character stuff than it is anything plot wise.
Sure.
Because anything with like, oh, it's the technology or they beat this person in a fight, I'm like, okay, like whatever. But the part that like really sticks in my craw still is the Han stuff. Where I'm like, why does no one care that this dude killed their friend? Like, that's the stuff that still gets to me, because it's like, that's the important stuff to get right.
Was Han rebuilt and he's the voice?
That's what I was thinking the entire time. I was like, yo, like, and that's the thing.
Because the whole thing's about the people that Jason Statham killed are like rebuilt.
Yeah.
So is Han.
And the dude, whoever the voice is, said, like, I have history with Hobbs, and don't you remember me, blah, blah, blah. The whole movie, I was like, it has to be Han, right? I was literally thinking, I was like, all right, who else could it be if it's not him?
It's Vin Diesel.
It's like, it could be Ryan Reynolds, or it could be like Mr. Nobody, but those don't really make sense. Like, I was trying to think of people that have history with Hobbs that would like make a difference to us. Like, it would be dumb if they just brought in a character we didn't know, and it's like, they have history. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, it would be dumb if in the next movie we're like, this is who I was the whole time. We're like, okay.
Yeah, right. But I was like, it makes sense though, because the whole thing of this movie is like a guy was rebuilt from when he should have been dead.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, is it Han? And like, the thing is, it's funny because like, if I really sit and think about it, I don't know if I want Han to come back as a weird cyborg villain, but I guess part of me kind of does, because the whole movie I was like, come on, show me it's Han, show me it's Han. Like, like I think part of me wants
part of you does want cyborg Han.
And I think part of it is just to have the character back, because I love him so much and I love the actor so much, and because then we know that it would be addressed in like a meaningful way.
Yeah.
But like, I'm sure it would be more tasteful and probably better to not go that hokey and just have the thing be addressed in a more grounded way. Like, but and I did read a thing. The writers did say that the Han thing will be addressed. Like,
well, that's good.
Yeah.
At least they're gonna do something with it.
Yeah, something. And like they promised in this one interview that I saw that like the character work they're gonna do with Statham, with Shaw, is gonna be like really cool, according to the writers of the own movie. So who knows? But that's what they said. They also mentioned like one of the other writers, the co-writers, Chris Morgan is the dude that does all the movies, and then Drew Pierce came on this one to co-write. He did like Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation and Iron Man 3 with Shane Black. He said that they initially wanted to put some like Justice for Han stuff in this movie, but they ultimately decided to be better to work on fleshing out Jason Statham's backstory first. And like they do put in the line of him talking to his sister, like, oh, like there's terrible things that I've done that I need to atone for, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Which like so you know, at least in this movie there's a shred of like, we didn't forget. It is weird though, because why would he feel bad about that? Like, just because like these are my friends now, so now I feel bad about killing. It just doesn't seem to jive with the character. But like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, well, it's obvious that they're trying to retroactively fix a villain to make them a hero of the series.
Like when they revealed that he didn't actually kill his team like they said in his debut. Which is like, whatever. Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm not.
It helps make it more believable that he would feel guilty over what he did to Han, but I don't know. We'll see once like whatever they say is gonna happen happens. We'll see if it ends up being like acceptable or not.
It could just be like a just a coincidence or whatever, but like when they're talking about like, we built cars for this place and this place, and they mentioned Tokyo.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, Hobbs and Shaw 3 Tokyo Drift, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, like you said, I was actually like really by the end of it pissed, because I thought for sure that they were gonna reveal who the voice was at the end of the movie, and then they didn't. I was like, okay, but we looked it up during if it had like post-credits scene. I was like, I looked it up. There's 4. I was like, okay, one of those has to for sure tell us who the voice is, and it's gonna be fucking Han. And then they don't show us anything with the voice, so we're gonna have to wait probably a long time to figure out who that is.
2 years probably.
I did see one other theory about who the leader of, I already forgot the name of the little organization the voice dude is.
Yeah.
And this would make the line make sense in like a meta way that might make it more acceptable if it was a character we hadn't seen before. Someone posted the theory that John Cena's character would be the leader of this thing, because then like, I think I don't think that's the best thing they could do, but if you're gonna do it and it was like a new character that they're feeling like, I have history with Hobbs, I think it does smooth that over if John Cena and The Rock have history that we all understand and know about. Then we can jump on board with their characters having history.
But John Cena's now he's in the Fast and Furious series. He's not in the Hobbs and Shaw series.
He is, but people are just speculating that they could tie those together more if they want to. I saw speculation that Hobbs and Shaw would be in 10. Like they're skipping 9, but like it would make sense if like they're hitting that big double-digit number.
You
Like,
got to have the like bring everybody back
yeah,
together kind
yeah.
of thing.
And then in
Reunion
that
show.
case, it would make sense if John, even if John Cena's like their buddy in the next one, like obviously they have no problem turning
Yeah.
people, whatever. Like, which I also did see bad news. Like we talked about on the Fate of the Furious episode, that we're like, I don't want to see the Cypher stuff continue, and she didn't die, so she's probably gonna come back. Charlize Theron is actually confirmed to reprise her role,
Mm.
which like I'm like instantly bored by, but who knows? Maybe they'll like mix it up. I don't know.
What if Ludacris is the voice?
The villain, it's Tej. That'd be so funny. Um,
Or what if it's oh my god, I can't think of the character's name now. But slap that ass.
oh, Asuki?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There was an article
I
that
just wanted to get some really random characters.
yeah. Oh, I would love it if it's anybody from the original
Yeah.
like series, like because I'm like a dork for this. So
Yeah.
I'd be like, I know them. One other like lore thing that came up. What was the comment that Shaw makes about like you made me kill my brother? What was he talking about?
I think he was talking about the like it's a Darth Vader Anakin Skywalker thing where I think he's talking about like you know that you because they were like close or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they were like so I think we're supposed to go like, oh well, these two were like best friends or whatever, and he came to kill him, and so he was forced to like.
I got confused because I thought he meant his literal brother, who we've seen in the series before, and I was like, "Wait, is he dead? Did he kill him?" Like,
I was thinking it more of like the way The Rock uses Uso kind of thing of like the.
I'm sure you're right because I don't remember anything like that with him and Owen Shaw,
Yeah.
who is conspicuous by his absence in these last few minutes. But he was like hospitalized and maybe even paralyzed in Fate of the Furious, wasn't he? In Seven, I mean, in Furious 7.
I don't recall.
I'm pretty sure that was the whole thing, was that like Deckard Shaw got introduced because they like really messed up his brother.
Mm.
And I remember there being like hospital scenes with him. But let me check my I have like actually like a lot of stuff that I wanted to mention. Why wait until the timer when Idris Elba's like hey, come here, like scrub lord, like you don't die till I tell you to die, which is a good line.
Yeah.
But he's like, watch her, and when the clock hits 0, shoot her.
Because he didn't want to lose the virus.
So the thing was gonna get out of her and into the machine?
Yes.
Okay.
The machine was extracting the virus and putting it into like a vial or whatever.
Okay. So back the way it was.
Back the way it
before
was
she
originally.
Did it. And
So
if it shot her,
it would have
then-
just released it like
Yeah.
without them being able to control it.
But wasn't that what they wanted? Didn't they want it out there? Like, it's like
But
no,
then
it's got to do it when I want it to. Like,
Well, then it would just be like it would only be on the island of Samoa.
yeah, they wouldn't be able to.
It wouldn't be
get
able
as
to like
many
get
people as-
everywhere.
Yeah, I guess it just seemed very like. You're right. Now that you've like explained it, it does make sense.
Yeah.
And like it works inside the logic of the movie, so they didn't do anything wrong. But in the moment, I was like, this feels very convenient that it's like now like give her lots of time, like you know what I mean. But no, that does actually check out. I really like the split screen opening.
I did too.
Yeah. That was when I was like, okay, this movie might be like a pretty good time. They had the song playing and they were showing both the characters like getting ready and like kind of like juxtaposing like their lives next to each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was fun.
The Rock eating a stack of pancakes.
Yeah, that was again good fan service because
That
everyone
was
that knows the Rock,
Rock
like,
Instagram fan
yeah,
service.
yeah, exactly, like cheat day, and they fucking dropped the line, like yeah. This is a very small thing, but I hated the moment in the beginning. The split screen things made me think about it because then like they do after the split screen, they do the thing where they both go on like very similar missions where they're trying to get info out of somebody.
Yeah.
And I hated the part where the girl is just like, well, the Rock's cute, so I'm gonna stand here and giggle while he tortures a man in front of me that was probably my boss a minute ago. I thought that was really dumb and bad.
Yeah.
But small part.
Well, people
of
like
the
The
movie.
Rock. That was addressed in the movie.
That's true. Yeah, that is.
People don't like Jason Statham.
Yeah. Okay, so the whole point of the movie is like obviously it's a setup of like these two don't like each other and they're gonna like to figure out how to get along and like be friends. Then we like knew that was coming from the jump. Whatever.
Sure.
It's interesting because there's not really a moment that like in a typical movie fashion like illustrates like, oh, this makes sense why they're connecting now. It was kind of just like they were stuck together long enough and had a common enemy enough that like it just happened, and I kind of like that because it kind of feels more realistic to me. Like or maybe not more realistic than if they had like a real like emotional whatever, but it just feels realistic in that like you can't sit there and just like hate that dude forever if you're like constantly having to defend the other ones, like defend your lives together and like
Yeah.
being tied up in the chair together with Idris Elba and trying to get out of it together. Like it just kind of makes sense that like rather than have a big like come to Jesus like your mom's name is Martha thing, that it literally was just like exposure. Like they were just around
Yeah.
each other enough that eventually they're like,
They were just like,
okay,
well, yeah,
like
we're both gonna die if we don't
yeah.
help each other out.
So like I think if you would have told me beforehand, it's like nothing really happens. They just kind of become like okay with each other, I would have been like, that's bad writing. But in execution, I was like, it actually kind of works for me.
Yeah.
And like, even though again, it was super obvious, we all knew it was gonna get there, and like I knew it probably wasn't gonna be very well earned, and I still don't know how earned it was. But like the moment where they actually kind of like cement that when they're in like the little like waterfall area before they beat the living shit out of Idris Elba. And Rock's just like, I got your back, brother. I was like, I like felt something. I
Yeah.
felt it a little bit, which is like kind of impressive for a movie where it's like it's incredibly telegraphed from the moment you see the poster where it's going, and they didn't do anything particularly like innovative or interesting to like establish that bond. Maybe I'm just a sucker. Maybe or maybe that story keeps getting repeated because it just works. Like we just like seeing people that don't get along learn how to
Sure.
figure it out. Maybe it's a trope and a cliche for a reason, just because it's effective.
Yeah.
But the hallway scene you mentioned was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it was nice that there was. I'm assuming there was more to it than was shown in the trailer with the thing at the end where like they're trying to scan the dude's eyes and like he has to scan like literally every person because they can't get one
All
that
the
works.
trailer shows is that The Rock slams the face and it goes like access granted, and then Jason Statham does it, and then he does it like again multiple times, but that's all the trailer shows.
Okay.
It doesn't show him like going through all the faces
Yeah,
and everything.
yeah, and like the big pile of dudes
Yeah.
in the corner. Yeah, yeah. So some of the
Mostly just shows The Rock making fun of the fact that he can't get in the door.
yeah,
And that's about it.
yeah. There was some cutesy like buddy action movie stuff.
Yeah.
I thought there was a good amount of that worked. Um, the the part that did work too in terms of like the whole like I said earlier I don't know how successful it was when they're like bringing the families back together. I did feel a little something too when Rock's daughter Sam meets her grandma.
Yeah, that's
Like,
nice.
that was nice.
That's nice.
Yeah. Um, that stuff with him and the daughter is pretty good overall. Like there were there were some moments where I was like, that feels like a real interaction between a father and daughter that like each other. Like the bit where they're on the phone and she's giving him shit about the eyebrow, and then he's like,
Yeah.
all right, talk to you later. Oh wait, one more thing, and he does the eyebrow
Yeah.
for her and kind of smiles and like hangs up the phone. I was like, that feels like a real relationship, like, and one that like I like and gravitate towards. What'd you think of Shaw's sister as a new character?
She seemed like an interesting character. Kinda, yeah, I don't know.
I thought she was
She
okay.
I think she was a good, I felt like, yeah, I mean, she wasn't like a full fleshed out character.
Yeah,
She was definitely like a summer blockbuster female character.
yeah.
Um, but I felt like there was a lot of parts where she did a good stand-in for the audience of like
Mhm.
the like, all right, guys, like seriously,
Yeah.
like kind of things. Like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff was good.
She got to do some cool stuff too, like the fight scene with The Rock where she uses like the motor. She like gets out of the motorcycle helmet and
Yeah.
stuff. Like that was fun.
Yeah, she had some cool fight stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had forgotten. I really liked some of that fight scene. Where she like twists out of like he's either in handcuffs and like puts him in that like almost like a knee bar kind of or not a knee bar like whatever. She's like using her knee
Yeah.
on his arm or whatever.
Yeah.
That stuff was cool. Fight choreography wise, obviously fucking like the John Wick director that helps.
I didn't the one like kind of big like weird why did this happen thing for me was with her. Why couldn't she just like hang out and get the virus out of her instead of like building the backpack thing where she was like involved in the fight and stuff?
Well, for one, I'm glad they did that because I was thinking when they had it start, I was like, this is gonna be bullshit if the female character that's like an MI6 agent has done all the other cool shit in the movie just has to sit here in this house now. So they definitely, for one, did it
But-
just to give her something to do.
But
also,
it doesn't really make sense because she's in a compromised position that it wouldn't make sense for her to be involved in this fight.
I think it kind of did not so much that she should be involved in the fight, but like I think it made sense that they gave her an out in case they got to her. So she would just like, "Oh shit, I
Oh,
guess I'm
sure,
stuck." Like I
yeah.
think they did it so that like if they made it that far, then she could run. She ended up leaving sooner. Like it wasn't like an emergency, but I think that's why the characters made that decision was to make her mobile so that like um that they would not just be screwed if they got into that
Well,
building.
no, and that makes sense, but, like, she literally runs out onto the battlefield with them at
Yeah,
the
see
start,
that doesn't make any
and
sense.
it's like she's running around, like, carrying an IV, you know? It's just like it's
Yeah.
kind of like it doesn't quite make sense, and also that's why she ends up getting captured is because, like, she's going through this medical procedure while she's trying to fight.
But
Like,
didn't they kind of come to her before she got actually involved in the fight? You're right that she was like kind of out and about, but wasn't it a thing where like they're in that kind of like it was like an enclosure kind of, and like the two dudes like I feel like they ran up on her and that's when she started fighting. I feel like she didn't just like charge in, but
well, doesn't she say, like, um she's like, why am I so close to the front lines? And he's like, so we can get out of here if we need to. Like they
yeah,
like literally go like, we're gonna
yeah,
have you right up at the front. Like
yeah, yeah,
I don't know. It just like I'm with you that it would be dumb if they were just like, let's take the only female character in this
and just
movie and like make them disappear for the
yeah,
end of this movie.
yeah,
But it also like I don't know. I was just kind of a little like she's going through this like really like painful dramatic
yeah,
procedure
and really important,
and
like
really important to the plot of the movie.
yeah,
And it's like, but we also need you to swing a club around.
yeah,
Like,
no, yeah, that makes sense for sure. The one I think the only other thing that I feel like we absolutely need to talk about that I'm very excited to talk about is okay, yeah, let's get to it. I don't really have anything. I was gonna mention like the post credit scenes, anything there, but they were kind of just like nothing
they
comedy
were mostly
scenes.
just
Like
jokes. So,
yeah,
yeah.
which makes me mad that you could have done more with the fucking voice. But that's good though that like they gave me something that I'm like dying for more now.
Yeah.
Like because what I was thinking was like you got to give me like that like you gotta like reveal it so I'm like dying to come back. But now I'm just dying to come back because they didn't show me, so like
Yeah.
they knew what they were doing.
They throw in at the end with the voice going like, "You can find me in Tokyo," and you're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. But the one last thing that I took note of that we need to discuss before we end this podcast and video is during the credits, Idris Elba raps in character, and it's fucking amazing. Like
Yeah, I totally didn't notice that.
I literally I was like on my phone like look I think I was like taking notes like before I forgot anything, and I just like my ears perked up because I hear a voice be like, "What did he say?" It was like, "I'm the next step in human evolution," and I was like, "Wait, isn't that the thing that?" Oh God! Like Idris Elba is rapping in character in this song at the end of the movie. The villain gets a rap song in the credits. I was like, that is the funniest, weirdest decision that I've ever seen made.
It's funny. I didn't pick up on that, but I was just watching Hot Ones and they had Idris Elba on,
Mm.
and he was talking about like how much he loves like British hip hop and stuff,
Oh
and how he
yeah.
wants to make an album and things.
Oh, there you go.
So
They
yeah,
threw him a bone. He's like, I'll play you a weird supervillain, but only if I get to rap.
yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty fun. And like you pointed out to me, is like that he got a writing credit for this song, so he wasn't content to just let Shane McMahon write his raps like John Cena was. Like
Yeah.
he actually like went in and did it.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like we covered, if we were to do like a like bird's eye view review,
Yeah.
brainless, like tons of stuff that doesn't make any sense. Some like bad dialogue and story stuff, but pretty enjoyable, totally watchable.
Yeah, I think it's a fun, like, you know, weekend night hangout popcorn movie kind of thing. Like like if you're just gonna like get together with some friends and like, not like have like a really like I need to pay attention to every moment of this kind of movie, but you're
Yeah,
just hanging out and having a good time watching a movie.
yeah,
Like I feel like this serves that very,
sure.
very well. Like where it's fun action stuff,
Yeah,
kind of some silly things, and you don't if you miss a line of dialogue, you're not gonna be completely lost.
yeah. There I feel like I'd probably have to watch it again, or at the very least, like listen back to our conversation about it to be sure. I think probably the stuff I liked about Fate of the Furious, I liked more than the stuff I liked about this. But this never went as low as Fate of the Furious did. Where like I spent like 40 minutes in the last podcast just being like, God, I hate that ending sequence. I'm so bored. Like whatever. Like that
Yeah.
never happened in this. I was with it the whole time. Like
Yeah.
even when there was stuff that was like dumb or bad. I was never bored, which is a lot better. Like that's a big improvement for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So it's hard to tell. I do think that Fate of the Furious, like all the other ones that like maybe are like kind of like questionable mid tier ones, like they really get me with the stuff that works in the franchise and plays out the fact that like the history of the characters and stuff. And this one doesn't have very much of that, so its highs were not as high for me. But it like I think it like slides in there like at a decent spot in the like higher than I thought it would be. Like I think when this first announced, I was like, this I'm not. I probably thought that I wouldn't even like it at all. Like,
Yeah.
and I definitely enjoyed it.
I mean, I enjoyed it too. I kind of liked, um, I liked the Rock's backstory that they brought in with his like where the whole well because we kind of talked about it a little bit, but like where his dad was like gone and like abandoned the family, and then like as him and his brothers got older, he like showed up again, and then he was really just like taking advantage of them going like, oh, our dad's here to like get a new crew to like
Yeah,
do jobs for him,
yeah,
and like so like all his brothers are like, "Oh shit, our dad's back," but like The Rock starts to realize that his dad thinks they're expendable and
hmm,
stuff, and that he doesn't really care about them,
yeah,
and so he ends up turning the dad in. But all his brothers are like, "Fuck you, what the hell, dude?" Like
yeah,
that stuff. Like I'm like, okay, well this makes sense why he would go away and he would like be afraid to come back and everything, and like
yeah.
makes sense why his family was like like I don't know. I feel like they can who knows if we'll ever see his family in the rest of the series or whatever. But I feel like
It's Fast
there's
and Furious. We're seeing that family.
that's true. But like I feel like there's like a lot of I feel like there's room for some good Fast and the Furious family stuff with that.
I think so too.
And I think they do a decent job like kind of going at it, but I feel like it lays the groundwork for what could be some good stuff with like him and his brother later on,
Yeah,
you know.
you could even have his dad show back up at some point.
Sure.
Um.
Well, I have history with
Oh shit. Yeah. What if
Hobbs.
it is his dad? How did that not occur to us till just now?
It would be weird if his dad, well, although whatever, it's Fast and Furious. It could be
Yeah.
anything. But yeah, like that would,
Yeah,
that
that's a
could that
possibility. That could happen. It also explains the career path that he ends up taking. You know,
sure. Yeah.
if he was part of like a criminal family, but then turns his dad into like the DEA or whatever, then it
Yeah.
makes sense. Where he's like, well, I can't go back home, and I'm not really gonna be wanted in this because like I'm basically like a snitch or whatever. So like I guess I'll just become a what is it DSS?
Yeah.
That he gets
Well, and
involved
it
in,
kind of
like,
makes sense that he like eventually like gets close with the whole Toretto family and
yeah,
everything too.
yeah.
Is because he like recognizes his own family in
Yeah,
that.
yeah, they kind of like retconned in like an explanation for that too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah. I don't know how.
So
How
the
does
family stuff's there.
Yeah, yeah,
It's there.
it's there. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
not bad.
That's what I would be interested if they kept building on that of like the relationship with him and his brother in like a later movie.
Yeah, I hate that this movie made Shaw fun enough to watch that I didn't just sit and pout the whole time about Han. I should have just sat and pouted about Han the whole time, but they got me. They
Yeah.
fucking got my ass. They're like, oh, here's a cheeky little British dude that's gonna talk shit to The Rock and do cool martial arts. And I'm like, all right, well, like, who's Han? Like, like I'll watch this movie. Like, but yeah, it makes me feel a lot better that they like promise that they're gonna get to it in a way that at the very least they like feel confident showing their faces in public and saying it's gonna be cool and good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Do you have anything else that you really wanted to say about Hobbs and Shaw?
I don't think so. I was gonna ask if you did because I talked a lot. Like I had a
No,
lot of
I mean,
notes.
but you brought up a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about, so
Yeah.
it works. What I really quickly wanted to do, since this is like the first one of these we have actually watched in theaters,
Yeah.
we saw a lot of like trailers,
Yeah.
and like, did it like I don't know, any of those catch your eye? I felt like basically, one of the coolest trailers I've seen in a long time is that World War One
Oh,
1917
yeah,
or whatever.
that was the first time I'd seen that.
I
Yeah,
didn't know. That's what I'm saying. Like I had heard about the fact that the guy who did Skyfall was making a World War One movie. And then so like when I saw it pop up, I'm like, oh, okay. And like I thought that trailer was really cool.
I really like the way that they like had like the shot of him running and then like the text was kind of
Yeah.
like moving with him and you like revealed like he was like in one of the letters of the text and stuff.
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
Also that Christopher Nolan, John David Washington movie.
Yeah, which like is nothing, but I was like, I want whatever that is.
Yeah.
Like,
I like
it
that's
is-
it was the most like Comic-Con teaser trailer of
Yeah.
all time. And he was even like, it's coming out next year. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, what? Why am I seeing a trailer in the movie theater for a movie that's coming out like a year from now?
Yeah.
But it was, I was watching like, well, I'm in. It's
Yeah.
Denzel's kid and Christopher Nolan. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was literally it was the most weird nothing trailer I've ever seen in my life. Like even the text was like so like it was almost like 80s or 90s or something where it's just like it's time for a new protagonist. It's
Yeah.
time for a new mission. And it just shows like John David Washington just like doing stuff that we have no context for,
Yeah.
and it's like a minute long, and I was just like, I don't know what this is, but I'm down. Like, yeah, it was weird. There were some like unique trailers actually, like between that and the kind of like experimental World War One trailer thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like World War One Saving Private Ryan.
yeah. I
Except
just like
makes a little more sense than Saving Private Ryan
Yeah.
does. Sorry, that's movie hot take.
I just meant even in just in terms of just the presentation of the trailer.
Oh,
like
yeah,
stuff I
sure.
had never seen before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. There was another one. Oh, the new Jumanji looks funny. That got some good giggles from me.
I still need to
I'm
see
not
the
gonna
I
lie.
still need to see the first one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I personally, I really enjoyed the first one. I thought that it was a good way to, take what the original. You've seen the original, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was a good way to take the original and change the format, but you're like still kind of like doing the bit.
Yeah.
Um, well, essentially, it changes because they go into the game as opposed to the game coming out.
Yeah.
Um, but like the original movie was, it took this idea of this like nerdy kid's The Rock, and there's this really popular girl that's Jack Black, and like all this stuff. There's like the big football player is Kevin Hart, and they take all that stuff and those jokes played really well, I think, in the movie. Like, it sounds on paper dumb that it's like, oh, we'll get it. It's a nerdy kid. He's The Rock. But like, I felt like
I'll be honest. Maybe it makes me dumb, but when I saw the trailer for that always appealed to me.
no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It is appealing in the movie.
Yeah.
It's funny and it's entertaining in the movie. Like all the characters are good. And so I'm actually like super down with the fact that this time around it's the same 4 characters, but they're playing different characters.
Yeah.
Like the Rock being Danny DeVito is really like that. I saw that and I'm like, okay, well, you got my money. I'm there.
Although I will say though, now that we're just like having an extended conversation about Jumanji to the next level instead of any Fast and the Furious movie, if we're already here, fuck it, might as well go into it though. In the trailer, at the very least, I have not seen the full film. No one has, but The Rock does not have a very good Danny DeVito impression. He just kind of just does lines. He doesn't really sell to me that he's Danny DeVito, at least in the trailer.
He's not supposed to be doing a Danny DeVito impression as much as he's supposed to be acting like Danny DeVito in The Rock's body.
I know, but like, I don't know. Yeah. All right. I guess it's just like, it wasn't, to me, if I had not seen a scene where like, it's like, that's old man Danny DeVito, I feel like I wouldn't necessarily know that that's the role that The Rock is playing.
Okay, sure.
But
I get that.
yeah. But
I don't know.
I'll reserve judgment.
I'm just saying that like, the jokes worked for me the first time around.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're basically, because I was a little worried when they were making another one that it was going to be all like oh, it's Jack Black's the preppy girl and everything and like all that stuff again. And I was like, well, all right, that might get a little old after 2 movies. But the fact that they're taking that formula again and just like flipping it, like all right,
yeah, it's fun.
That's a fun little addition.
Yeah.
So I'm down with that. I don't remember if there was another trailer I wanted to talk about, but those were the big 3 that like stuck out to me.
Yeah. What is it? Queenie and Slim looks good. The Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh, yeah.
Bonnie and Clyde modernization kind of thing.
Yeah. That looked interesting.
I've seen that trailer a few times, but it still looks good.
Yeah, I actually all these I had not seen before.
Okay.
They were all new trailers for me.
Yeah. It was real cute when the what is it, like 21 Bridges or something like that played. A kid around theater was like, "That's Black Panther."
Yeah.
When Chadwick Boseman was on screen. Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah. Also Flea was in that movie.
In the Queen and Slim one.
Yeah. Which that's was like, okay, cool. Like Flea was second build on that
Yeah,
too
I
on the
know,
trailer.
yeah.
I was like, all right. Way to go, Michael Balsering.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, I personally like, I enjoy when it's like, oh, here's the new Star Wars trailer and like, oh, that's cool. I'll watch this. But I really like when I go to see a movie and that's when I'm seeing the trailer for the first time.
Yeah.
Like I really like, the big screen and it's like, oh, well, like, see, cause I remember it's probably just like a nostalgia thing for me with the trailers, but because it comes back to I remember being a kid and going to see a movie and seeing the pod racer go
Mm,
by for episode one,
yeah.
and whatever your judgments of that movie are. As a kid, I saw that and I was like, this looks like Star Wars, and then like the
Yeah.
text pops up. I'm like. Is this Star Wars? And like it's all like lightsabers and stuff start popping on the screen. I'm like, oh my god, it's Star Wars! I remember because I mean back then we weren't like looking stuff up online and
No.
everything and like finding out what movies were coming out and stuff. I wasn't going to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I was like 9.
Yeah.
So it was like or actually younger than that, probably like what 99's when that movie came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like 7 was when I probably saw the trailer.
Yeah.
7 or 8. So yeah, it was like I kind of remember the wonder of seeing that. So I
Yeah.
still really enjoy seeing trailers for the first time, like in a movie theater.
Yeah. I agree.
It's fun.
It's a good part of
I
the
love the big
experience.
screen.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. I will always.
I just love
be
big speakers and big screens.
Yeah,
That's really
I'll
what it comes
always be a
down to.
sucker for the theater experience.
Well, yeah. All right. Well, we broke our record. This is our
Oh,
longest episode of Fast and
yeah.
Curious.
Yeah.
I just basically wanted to make sure that we shattered that Fate of the Furious.
Is that why you brought up the movie trailers thing? Just like
No,
we
actually,
have to keep it going.
We had passed it before that.
I'm sure we did. Yeah.
But yeah, so hope you all enjoyed this episode of Fast and the Curious. We still need to do like the spin-off movies.
I know. I really want to do those.
We should
gotta,
really
like,
do
set
that.
aside the time.
Well, they're like 15 minutes
We could probably
long.
do both in like a day.
Probably.
Yeah.
It really would take like no time to do.
Yeah.
But watch, it'll take us some time to do.
3 years from now. It's
yeah.
like, we should watch those spin-off movies.
Yeah. We're watching Fast 9 of the Furious.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Fast and Nine-urious.
There's nothing good.
I don't know.
Nothing good in there.
What are they going to call it?
Probably like Fast and Furious 9.
Fast and Furious 9.
You said
Fast and Curious 9. Fast and Furious 9.
They're like they busted it exactly. There's these 2 boys on YouTube. Like,
they have 165 subscribers. Hurry.
That is the missing demographic. These kids like Dead Rising videos. We gotta get them in here.
They got 1,000 views on their Dead Rising video.
They say hootie hoo. This is for nobody now. Whatever. If you've hung with us this long, you can find all the stuff we do on alienhappyhour.com. And
if you're watching the video of this, there's this is also going to be on our podcast feed for Movie Club, which is on alienhappyhour.com or on the podcast app of your choice. We do this kind of thing with all sorts of different movies. So if you like just, people fucking around and breaking down movies and cracking jokes and stuff, that's pretty much what Movie Club is.
that's all it is.
Yeah. So you can check that out as well. That is just a podcast. There's not videos of that yet.
Yeah.
End credit scene.
Yeah. Han's like, I'm gonna shoot video for Alien Happy Hour.
But yeah, so you could check that out. And while you're here on our YouTube channel or on the podcast app of your choice or whatever, basically there's other YouTube stuff we do. So you can check that out as well. YouTube.com/alienhappyhour for those of you listening to the podcast.
Like Alien Happy Hour Wrestling Federation, where we just had Hobbs versus Shaw.
Yeah.
This past Thursday.
Now they have to learn to work together.
Yeah, we'll just book them as a tag team, and yeah, it'll be a whole thing.
Or just have The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Idris Elba and a stormtrooper or something.
Yeah, but then we gotta top the Gaston song with an Idris Elba rap, and I don't know if I'm
I can't do that.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't want to tackle that. But yeah, so hit like on the video. Hit don't like if you didn't like it.
We value honesty.
Yeah, just however you feel. Yeah, thanks for watching. And well, I don't know what we'll return with.
I think we will return with, I believe the first one is Supercharged. That's the one on the Too Fast and Furious.
Okay.
Too Fast, Too Furious DVD. I believe that one's called Supercharged, and that is most likely the next time we'll be back for this.
Okay, unless we wait till Furious 9.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for watching.